Hey there, we are so glad that you're here and choosing to check out our Be Encouraged moments. We absolutely love being here. Today, I want to talk about how we are the same. So last week, we talked about summer and we talked about all the things that we like to do during the summer. And for me, summer is all about adventures and about traveling.
Truly it is.
I love traveling. I have been very, very fortunate, and I've had the opportunity to travel to some pretty amazing places. I have been to many states across the U.S., too many to even begin to name. I've been to a couple different places in Canada. I have been to Japan. I've been to London. I have been to Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania. The list can go on, but you're getting the point. I find it such a joy. I find such a joy in traveling. Meeting new people, exploring new places, learning about different cultures, trying new foods. I haven't even begun to scratch the surface of the things that I want to do. I dream big. And my daughter, thankfully, has inherited my very adventurous heart, and she has the same desire to strike out on many adventures. There's a Disney movie called Up, and the essence of the story is about, or the quote that came out of that movie is, there's adventure out there. And that is so true for us. I actually have a charm that says that. We have a notebook. There was a movie that made popular the quote or the idea of the bucket list. And I don't like to call ours a bucket list because I'm not going anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah,
but
right.
I call it, the title of our journal is Adventures Out There. And its idea is anywhere from trying new foods to, hiking the rolling green hills of Ireland. So, I mean, they span all over the map. One of the places that I want to talk about today is the trip that I took to Africa. I got the opportunity to spend over a month in 3 different countries. I was in Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda. While I was on this trip, I got to visit hospitals, schools, from the secondary schools all the way up to university. We went to orphanages, villages, family homes. We went on safaris. I got to see the most majestic creatures in their natural homes, and so much more. I could go on forever talking about this. This is a huge piece of my heart. As I said, I spent a month there with people who, on one hand, are so very different from me, and yet I found they're really not all that different than me. We made some lasting memories, some amazing friendships that still carry on to this day. And I want to talk about that part that I just said. I found that they really are not that different than me. And there are 2 children's books I'm going to share. The first is called African Heartbeat by Barb Kristen. The essence of the story is that there's a little girl in the U.S. who sponsors a child in Africa, and they are pen pals, and they go back and forth, and eventually they both get to see each other in their own homes. It's a really great book, but there's a quote out of it that I wanted to share with you guys, and it's at the very end of the book, and it's, "Our hearts are growing, one beat at a time. I can see your world, and you can see mine. Deep down we are a family. We know it is true." I think that's a really great message. I think that our hearts beating as one is something really cool. The second book I want to share is, as I hit Jan in the head, it's A Big World, Little Pig by Kristi Yamaguchi. She actually wrote 2 books. This is the second book. She may have written more than that, but 2 to this series, and this is the second book of that one. And in the first book, the pig learns to ice skate. By the second one, she is a world-class ice skater. Seems to ring true with the author. Yes. She gets the opportunity to go to the Olympics, and she's crazy nervous. She doesn't know people. She doesn't know the language. She doesn't know the food, so on and so forth. It's all the things that we would all be afraid of. But there's a quote in the beginning of the book that, again, drives home to what I'm talking about today, that her best friend tells her before she leaves. "It's a big world, little pig, but remember that everyone smiles in the same language."
So sweet.
Yeah, how cute is that? In my opinion, these stories show that we are so very much alike in ways that really do matter. One more illustration, I promise. And this one's from Disney's Tarzan. Marley is currently in the play. on stage. The version, or this illustration that I'm going to give you, is actually from the animated Disney movie. The idea is that, Tarzan was raised in the jungle, and his family is a family of apes, and, so on and so forth. I think most of you probably know the story. But the scene I'm referring to is Tarzan has been having a hard time keeping up with the other. He's young Tarzan, very young Tarzan, a couple years old. And he's having a hard time keeping up with the other ape children. And he's really upset, and he runs down to the riverbank, and he's splashing in the water, and the mud splashes up on his face, and he sees his reflection in the water, and to him it looks like hair. And so he starts covering his whole body in mud because he wants to be like the other children that he plays with, because in his mind he doesn't look like them, he doesn't move like them, he doesn't sound like them. I could go on and on and on. His mother, who is an ape, comes up and picks him up and, wipes the mud off of his face. And she tells him, close your eyes. And then she takes his hand and she puts Tarzan's hand to his chest. Now forget what you see. What do you feel? Young Tarzan answers, my heart. The mother then picks him up and pulls her close to him, and she takes his hand and puts it on her chest and asks him the same question. What do you feel? Tarzan says, your heart. And the mother's response is, see, we're exactly the same. We live in a great big world with people from all walks of life. But at the center of all of it, I think that we are very much alike in the ways that really matter. We all love. We all want to show and receive kindness. We are all sons and daughters. We are all finding our way in this world. When you take the time to focus on the many similarities, you begin to see that it's a world of laughter, a world of tears. It's a world of hopes and a world of fears. There's so much that we share that it's time that we're aware it's a small world after all. There is just one moon and one golden sun. A smile means friendship to everyone. Though the mountains divide and the oceans are wide, it's a small world after all. And obviously I need to make sure I give credit. Those are the lyrics from It's a Small World. Songwriters are Robert Sherman and Richard Sherman. Obviously Walt Disney owns that. And yes, I absolutely had to bring you It's a Small World. I would sing it, but you don't want me to. But I think that sometimes the way to get your point across is to use illustrations that have been used for children, because it takes a huge topic and makes it very digestible. Let yourself see how much alike we really are, and allow yourself to love and experience adventures and new people. I want to share a phrase from in Swahili with you. It's nakupenda, which means I love you, and nakupenda pia is I love you also. So nakupenda pia to all of you. Mm-hmm. We love being on these, and we thank you for joining us for our Be Encouraged moments.